Hi all, thanks for joining in. I'm Prabhas Sirivadana from WSO2. Hope all of you can hear me. Can someone please ping on the chat if you can hear me well? Okay, great, thanks. Yeah, so this is our fifth IAM4 developers meetup. We've done four before. And so we are planning our sixth one in 2 weeks' time. So there we plan to talk about how you secure service communications in a microservices deployment. So there we're going to talk about multiple protocols, like how you communicate with services over HTTP, gRPC, and also using Kafka. So that's the next meetup. And today we are going to talk about single logout dilemma. So basically, we'll start talking about at very briefly, at very high level, the expectations from application developers and also from users when they implement a single logout. Then we'll dig into the details of how you do SAML single logout, as well as how you do OpenID Connect a single logout. Yeah, before that, so if you hear about WSO2 for the first time, WSO2 is a company which produces a set of open source products. We have an identity server, that's the product I've been leading for last 13 years. And also we have an API manager and an enterprise integrator, all released under Apache 2.0, an open source license. In fact, the Apache 2.0 is the most business friendly open source license. Also, before we get started, I think all of you are muted now, but feel free at any point to unmute yourself and ask any questions. Also, you can use the Zoom chat panel to type any questions. Yeah, so here I list out some of the expectations that I heard from working with our customers and also working with other communities. One main expectation is like when you log out from one application, then you should be able to log out from all the other applications you have logged in that particular browser session, and also connect to the same identity provider. And also you log out from the connected IDP, right? So you just log out from one application, your session with all the other service providers which are coming from the same IDP should log out, given that all the sessions are maintained under same browser instance. And one extension to that, so there are some cases you have set of applications connect to one identity provider, right? So all your service providers just trust one IDP, but this IDP can federate you, the user, to your own IDP, right? For example, like Facebook login, right? So your application may trust one IDP, and that IDP will redirect you to Facebook, right? So there are two IDPs. So second bullet point highlights that you expect your session to be terminated from all the service providers in that particular browser session, as well as from the IDP all these service providers are connected to, and also the outbound federated IDP, right? So we'll be doing a demo on that as well. Then the other expectation is single logout should happen irrespective of the federation protocol. You may have one service provider supporting OpenID Connect, and another service provider supporting SAML, another one supporting WS Federation. And if all the service providers are connected to one IDP, then your expectation is if you log out from an OpenID Connect application, then you should be automatically logged out from all the connected service providers or applications, irrespective of the federation protocol. Right? And another expectation is when you log out from one application, you expect you'll be logged out from the same application which you have logged out from other devices. Right? For example, if you take Gmail, for example, right? So Gmail has an option that you can kill all the sessions in other devices, right? So you can, if you're logged in browser, and from the browser, if you kill browser, you can kill a session, and you can kill all the sessions, your Gmail session that you have logged in from other devices as well. But this is a very, very rare requirement. We haven't come across this that much. Then another discussion that happens over the time is like how you build a single logout experience for the end users. Do you expect user to explicitly click on a button? Like, so if user clicks on logout button from an application, would you expect that user to log out from all the application without the user's consent, right? So there have been discussions like, so the link that I put here, this happened a few years back at IIW, it's the Internet Identity Workshop that happens twice a year at the Computer History Museum, Mountain View. So there we had a discussion on like what's the expectation and the user experience during a logout flow. Yeah, and some people expect logout to be initiated automatically when you close a browser or a tab, or you expect user to explicitly say that you want to log out, right? So these are some of the expectations, but in this discussion, we are not going to discuss these like expectations in detail, but we'll dig more into the technicalities of available federation protocols and how you implement logout on top of that. First, let's have a look at the SAML 2.0 logout, how SAML 2.0 has implemented the logout protocol. I assume you have some understanding about how SAML 2.0 works at a high level. So I won't go into details. So I expect that you have an understanding about OpenID Connect and how OAuth 2.0 works. In fact, we did a couple of meetups on OpenID Connect and OAuth 2.0. If you go to the YouTube channel of IAM4 Developers Meetup, you can find out those videos as well. In SAML, at a very high level, in SAML, there are 4 main components. One component is called SAML assertions. Right? So a SAML assertion can be an authentication assertion, an authorization assertion, an attribute assertion. So assertion itself is an XML payload. It tells something about the receiving party, which is provided to you by an issuer, right? So it's an assertion. It's just enough claims about someone, right? So these assertions can be authentication assertions, attribute assertions, and then authorization assertions. The other one is a request response protocol. So SAML defines a schema for a SAML request and schema for a SAML response. And the third one is SAML binding. A binding defines how you can transport a SAML request from one place to another place. For example, you can embed a SAML request into a SOAP message and transport it from one place to another place. And that binding we call SAML SOAP binding. And also you can send a SAML request in an HTTP body and do a post, right? So that binding is called SAML HTTP post binding. And if you send a SAML request in an HTTP redirect, so that we call SAML HTTP redirect binding, right? So all these bindings define how exactly you can transport a SAML request or a response using that particular channel. So that's called bindings. And then the last component is called profile. A SAML profile defines how you can combine these assertions, then this protocol, the request response protocol, and also the bindings together and build or address some useful use case, right? For example, single sign-on is a SAML profile. Single logout is a SAML profile, right? So in a SAML profile, we combine all those 3 together and say how you can use them to solve this specific problem. Okay? So single logout, what I want to highlight is single logout is a SAML profile. Let's see how this works. So here we assume you have already logged into the application 1 using SAML with this particular IDP, right? So that means you need to register this IDP, this application or the SAML service provider with the identity provider. And now you have logged into the application using SAML. Now, when you initiate login, so from the browser, you click on logout link. So when you initiate logout, you click on the logout link from the browser and it will do HTTP get to the application 1. So basically you send a request to the web server. Then the web server will generate a SAML logout request. It's an XML payload and that has to be signed by the application. So this request should authenticate the requester to the IDP. And you can do that by signing the request. So this logout request should be signed. And also, this particular logout request also includes something called session index, right? So when you enable single logout at the service provider side, then when the IDP generates a SAML assertion, it also has to include something called session index in the SAML login response, right? Then during the logout flow, the service provider must include same session index to the logout request. So you send that request directly to the identity provider, and this session index will uniquely identify this particular session with the IDP, right? And also you should include the principal, right? Or the subject. It necessarily need to be the SAML subject. It has to be, it can be any claim ID, but that should uniquely identify the principal. So looking at the SAML logout request, IDP knows what the session ID, session index, and also who the user is, right? So now you get the logout request here. So all these we call front channel, right? Or else this is also called asynchronous communication, right? Then once you get to the IDP, IDP can either use front channel logout or back channel logout, right? So in this diagram, what we see is the back channel logout, and that is the most common way we see people have implemented SAML logout, and it's the most easiest way to, right? It's less complex than other protocols. In back channel logout, so you get the logout request, right? Now, along with this logout request, you will also get like the cookies associated with the IDP domain, right? So then you can identify the session of this particular user, and also you can identify what are the other service providers this particular user has logged in within the same session, right? Then internally you can find out who those service providers, and then for each service provider, you can send a logout request. It's a direct HTTP request, right? So you create a logout request, which is signed by the IDP, and send this logout request to that particular application. Then that application will invalidate its session and send the logout response, right? In this logout request, it will be signed by the IDP, and it is not a must that you include the session index in this request, right? So if you include session index along with the principal name, then the application can terminate that particular session for that particular principal. If you don't include the session index, then application will terminate all your sessions corresponding to the subject or the principal that the app2 identifies looking at the login request. So after you complete this one, then the IDP can create a logout response and redirect the user back to the application one. This happens over, once again, front channel to the browser, right? So this is a high level overview, and there's a question, right? So now this communication with the app2 and the IDP, it happens in the back channel, right? But app2 has a front channel too, right? The user has logged into the browser, but you only terminate, you send a request to the back channel, right? Now there's no correlation between back channel and the front channel, right? So just looking at the request app2 gets to the back channel, app2 cannot terminate its front channel. It doesn't know where to send a request, right? So one approach people follow is, once you get the logout request here, you terminate the back channel session, and from the front channel, the HTML page loaded to the browser, it will periodically send a request to a known endpoint of the app2. For example, let's say get to a check session endpoint, right? It's not a standard. It can be something that you implement at your application itself, right? So the check session endpoint will see whether the user has a valid back channel session. If not, it will send a response saying the session is invalid. Then the HTML loaded to the browser can log out the user from the front channel as well, right? So this is one approach. You can like link your front channel with the back channel communications. Okay? So let's quickly go through a demo. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask anytime. I'm using Identity Server for the demo. So let me log into the Identity Server. Here first, I need to register SAML service provider. I already have done that. I'll just show you the configuration. So this is my SAML application. Here, if you go to inbound authentication configurations, so these are the configuration we support. If we expand the SAML configuration, if you go here, so I have specified an issuer, then assertion consumer URL, and then I have enabled single logout, right? So at WSO2 Identity Server, it supports back channel logout and also front channel logout. So in the next few slides, we'll talk about front channel logout too. And front channel logout can be used with different bindings, right? We'll talk about that later. So here I have enabled back channel logout. Yeah, now let's see how this works. So this is the endpoint of the application. Okay. So now if I type this one, yeah. So this is the pickup dispatch app. Now if I click login, I can enable SAML tracer too. So then I can like trace everything happening. I'll move this to a different terminal and bring it back again. Click login. Now I can log in as Prabhat. Okay. Now I'm logged in. Now let's have a look at the SAML request and response. So this is still we are on authentication, right? So this is a SAML request generated from this pickup application, right? So if we look at the SAML request, you can see this SAML request. Okay. And then this is SAML response coming from the identity server. And if you look at the authentication assertion, authentication statement here you will see something called session index, right? The IDP will only send a session index if you have enabled single logout. Otherwise, you don't need to send a session index if you are not going to use it, right? So only place you are going to use session index is if the service provider or the application wants to initiate a logout field, right? So clear this one and this back. And now let's see how logout works. So now if I click logout here, okay, it takes me to the, it took me to the identity server, then identity server sent me back to this particular URL, right? So now let's have a look at the logout request and logout response. This is a logout request initiated from the pickup application, right? So this is going to this endpoint, 9443/SAML SSO endpoint. And if you look at the SAML request, you can see session index, right? This is the same session index you got from the SAML authentication response. And also you can see the name ID, which will carry the principal. And also the SAML logout request is signed by the service provider of the application. And here you get the response. You get the response from the IDP, and it has status code saying success. So that's it. And also it's signed by the IDP. Now let's see how we can extend this to a federated IDP, right? And see how logout works here. Now when I click on login, the dispatch app sends a request to the identity server running on port 9443, right? So when I click here, right? So you can see it goes to port 9443, right? Now I have deployed another identity server to run on port 9445. So that's my outbound federated IDP, right? So the request comes from service provider 9443, and 9443 will redirect the user to the 9445 IDP. Now my expectation is when I click logout from my application, I should terminate my session at 9443 IDP as well as my session at 9445 IDP, right? So let's see how we can do that. First, in identity server, this is implemented specific. Like if you use different IDP, then the way you configure those IDPs and service providers could change. But if you're using identity server, you need to add the IDP here pointing to 9445. Right? I already have done that. I'll show you the configuration. So here you can see under federated authenticators, once again, communication between this IDP and the federated IDP also happens over SAML. So I have enabled SAML and OpenID Connect, set up the service provider entity ID, and then also I have enabled single logout. Right? That's the only thing I need to do from this side. And also another thing, so once I enable the, once I define the IDP, I need to go back to my SAML service provider and edit the login options. Earlier, we just used username and password to authenticate. Now we should outbound federate to the external IDP. Right? So I can click on federated authentication here and pick the IDP name. So we put 9445 as the IDP name. So it's listed here. I just pick that. So that means whenever I get a request, I'll be redirected to 9445 IDP. Okay. Now let me show you the configuration in 9445 IDP. Okay, I'm on 9445. If you go here, I have introduced 94443 as a trusted service provider. Now you expand the inbound authentication configuration, this one, SAML. Here I have set the configuration related to the 9443 IDP. So I have enabled single logout as well. Now let's sign out and see how this works. Let's pick the URL, go to 9443 again. If you go to list, and this is my service provider URL. I don't have login session yet. Now when I click on this one, I should be taken to 9445 IDP directly, right? So I'll clear my SAML tracer, login. See, you can see now I'm on 9445, right? So let me log in with the user from there. Now the response will come to 9443, and 9443 will send the response back to the service provider, and the service provider always trusts the 9443 IDP, and the trust broker in between the app and the 9444 IDP is done by the 9443 IDP, right? So this basically it's doing some proxy. Now, if you look at the SAML tracer, right, you will see 2 requests and 2 SAML responses. The first one, this is generated from the pickup application to 9443, and this request is generated from the 9443 IDP to 9445 IDP, and this response is coming from 9445 to 9443, and this response is coming from 9443 to the dispatch application. Okay. Let's clear that one, and let's see how logout works. Now, if I log out from here, I should be logged out from both the IDPs. Right? Now, if you look at the SAML tracer again, you can see there are 4 logout requests, 2 logout requests, and 2 logout responses. The first one, the logout request coming from the dispatch app to 9443, and this is the logout request going from 9443 to 9445, and this is a logout response coming from 9445 to 9443, and this is the logout response coming from 9443 to the dispatch application. Right? So this is how you can build logout between federated IDPs. Right? Okay, let's get back to the slides. Okay. So now in this case, the entire flow is front channel. There's no back channel component in it, right? The first front channel flow is same as what we discussed before. You get a logout request from the service provider to the identity provider. Then identity provider will send logout request to each and every service provider through the browser, right? So you send a logout request here. It goes to the browser, then browser will do a get, and then the application will do another 302 to the IDP, right? So if you have 10 service providers, then browser will do 10 read rates, right? And you can see this flow is very fragile, right? Every request goes to the browser, and there's a chance that will break at any point, right? So that is why people are not using this front channel logout flow commonly. Then after that, then once you logged out all the other service providers, then the IDP can send a response back to the original, the initiator of the logout request, right? And then again, these requests can follow any of the SAML bindings. It can be HTTP redirect, HTTP post, or artifact binding. And based on the binding you pick, the flow will change. Here we are using, in this particular diagram, we are using the HTTP redirect binding. Okay. Another pattern is the entire thing is back channel. Right? So you send a logout request from the browser to the application. Then application will do a logout request, a direct call from the application to the IDP endpoint. Then IDP will do the back channel logout across all the connected service providers. Once that is done, it will send a logout response back to the application directly. And once again, here also you have some kind of a session checker for all the service providers to terminate your front channel session, right? But this is once again not quite common. What we see in common is the first one, because second one is not, it's very fragile. You can see it because like this can fail at any moment, right? There's a high chance of failing. So once again, this is possible, right? This is also a possible pattern. But once again, every service provider has to have kind of session checker to invalidate its front channel session looking at the back channel session. Yeah. So then SAML logout outbound federation. This is a demo we did, right? So this combines front channel with back channel. You send a logout request here to the IDP1. Then IDP1 will send a logout request to the IDP2, right? So in fact, this can be a post or a back channel call, or it itself can be a front channel call, right? In the demo we saw it's a front channel call, right? But it can be a back channel call too. So basically, for this particular IDP1, IDP2 is just another service provider. Then when the request goes to IDP2, if there are any other service providers connected to that, then that IDP2 can initiate the logout request, right? So once everything is done, the IDP1 will return back a logout response to the application 1. Okay, so that's how the logout works. Okay. Yeah, so now let's move into the OpenID Connect flow. So here I assume you have a good understanding on like OpenID Connect and OAuth2 and how it works. So this is how typical OpenID Connect login flow works with the authorization code flow. Right? I won't go to the details. One thing I need to highlight here is when the authorized endpoint of the IDP or the OpenID Connect provider returns the authorization code, if OpenID Connect service provider or the application won't support logout, then IDP will send another parameter called session state. Right? Then again, in OpenID Connect, there are 3 ways how you can implement logout. One is defined in the session management specification. The other one is defined in the front channel logout specification, and the third one is defined in the back channel logout specification. So if you follow session management specification, then IDP will include this session state parameter 2 along with the authorization code. Now it goes to the browser. So this is a 302. Then the browser at this point will write a cookie called OPBS under the domain of the IDP. Right? This cookie will have some value. We'll talk about like that value later, probably in the next slide. We'll write a value and write that cookie under the domain of the IDP, and will send the code and the session state to the application 2. This is PO020. Now the application has the code, you exchange that to a token, and then you send a 200 to the browser, and then now the user is logged in, right? Now when you follow the session management spec, the web application should load 2 iframes. One iframe you need to load from the application that we call Reliant Party iframe, and you also need to load another iframe from IDP, right? So now you have a session state, you have this cookie called OPBS, and you have an iframe from Reliant Party and another iframe from the OpenID provider, right? So we don't need to go into details at this moment. We'll see like how the OpenID Connect logout flow using all these components. Okay, probably the next slide. Okay, so now you are logged in, right? So now you are logged in. You have a cookie. You have 2 iframes. You have a session state, right? Now these 2 iframes, while you are logged into the service provider or the application, these 2 iframes will start communicating with each other, right? So this is a Reliant Party iframe. This is an OpenID provider iframe. Now RP iframe will send a post message to the OpenID provider iframe with the client ID and the session state, right? So remember, this is a session state we got along with the authorization code from the authorized endpoint of the authorization server, right? Here you can see the code. So this is a JavaScript which will do that. You will find the target origin. So this is the origin of the IDP. Then you will find the location of the OpenID provider iframe by ID. Then you will send a post message to that particular iframe, which will link to the target origin and also this message. So this message is the client ID plus the session state, right? You send this message to the OpenID provider iframe. Here you can see the code of the OpenID provider iframe. So once you receive that message at the OpenID provider iframe, it will find out the client ID from the data it got from the RP iframe, and it will find a session state from the same message, right? And then session state also has something called salt, right? You have the state dot salt, right? Then it will extract out the salt too. Then after that, it will do SHA-256 calculation with the client ID it got from the RP iframe with the origin, right? And then it will also get the cookie value from the browser. Now this iframe has access to the OPBS cookie value because this iframe is loaded from the IDP domain, and we write the OPBS cookie under the IDP domain. So this iframe has access to the value of the OPBS cookie, right? Now you have the OPBS cookie value, salt value, and you calculate, put the dot 2 and calculate the entire value. And this value should match what is in the session state, right? So you derive the session state in this way and see whether it's the same value that you got from the RP iframe. If that is the case, then OP iframe decides the session hasn't changed, right? Then it will simply pass that state to the RP iframe. So it goes to the receive message, will check whether session has changed or not, right? So then, so there's no communication over the wire, just still the communication happens between iframes and just check the cookie, right? So now if logout happens at the IDP side, what's the best way the IDP can inform that to this particular Reliant Party? It simply needs to change the cookie value, right? So if the cookie value is changed, then when Reliant Party checks the state regularly, frequently with the OP iframe, it sends the original session state, right? But now this calculates the latest session state by looking at the latest value of the OPBS cookie. Now that what you got from the RPI frame, the session value will differ from the calculated one here with the latest value from the cookie, right? Because now the IDP has changed that value. Then if it is changed, then the OPI frame will return the state says changed. Then what you need to do from this side is, you go to next slide. Yeah. So if the state is changed, then the iframe, Reliant Party iframe has to do send a request to the IDP. It's a direct request with prompt equals none, and also you need to pass a parameter called IDP ID token hint. So the value of the ID token hint is the original ID token you got. Right? You pass both the arguments, then IDP will evaluate that and it will send back a response. Right? Now, if the user has logged out from the IDP, if user doesn't have a session, then this won't return back an ID token. Right? User doesn't have a session. So when we send prompt is none, that means IDP should not prompt the user to authenticate even if user doesn't have a session at the IDP side. Right? So now when you got the response back to the RP iframe, it checks whether there's an ID token in the response. If there's no ID token, that means user has logged out, and then RP iframe will initiate a logout request. Basically, you send a request to app2 and app2 will initiate a logout request, right? Or else there can be a case you still get an ID token, but it has a different subject value, right? That means user has logged into a different service provider, different application with a different subject value. Then still, if the subject has changed, still you need to log out the user from the application too, right? And this logout request will function as before, like this, right? Basically, this flow. So this app1, so you get a request here, go here, yeah, right? So logout will happen in the normal way from the OpenID provider. We call it RP initiated logout. So when the OP iframe, RP iframe detects that there's a logout happens, it will simply redirect the user, right, to the identity provider. In this logout request, it will include the ID token hint, post logout redirect URL and state, right? Logout ID token hint, once again, it's your original ID token. And then this will validate the session, invalidate the session, and send back a 302 or redirect user back to the application one. Now user is logged out from the application. And before doing that, application should clear its any of its status, right? So if it's a single page application, then you need to clear anything that you store in the local storage or session storage. Right? Ideally, for a single page application, the best one is the session management, right? The issue there is you need to support iframe, but in terms of implementing that, session management is the best thing. You just need to have 2 iframes. You don't need to directly communicate with the IDP, or IDP doesn't need to send any direct request to you, right? So everything will be tracked. The session will be tracked through the cookie, where the communication happens between the RP iframe and the OP iframe. You can also use front channel logout, right? So this is what we are going to discuss now. So in front channel logout, what happens is there's no like Reliant Party iframe, or you don't need to you don't need to load any iframes to your client side application. So here what happens is first the application one initiates a logout flow. It's same as what you saw before. Logout request, it goes to the IDP. Then here, looking at the request, right, you get all the cookies associated with that particular session. IDP can find out all the other applications this particular user has logged in under that particular session, under that particular browser session. Then it will start sending requests just like SAML front channel logout to all the applications, right? But the way you send that request here is different. Earlier in SAML, each request was initiated from the IDP and it goes to the service provider. Then service provider will respond back with another 302 which comes to the IDP. Here what happens is the IDP identifies all the logout URLs of the corresponding service providers and create an iframe for each service provider. That IDP has to send a logout request, and then render an HTML page with all these iframes and send a 200 with all these iframes. Now browser will render all these iframes, and in parallel each iframe will send logout request to all these service providers, right? So once that is done, you can detect like all the communication is done in iframes. Then one approach is from the browser. You can send, this arrow should be in, once it is done, you can send a response to the IDP, right? You can send so basically you can do an auto post to the IDP here. Then IDP will do a 302 to the original app, right? Or else you can generate a 302 from here itself, or do a get directly from here to the application one, right? Once all the iframe communications are done, right? So this is a very much better approach than the SAML front channel logout. All the requests happens in parallel through the iframes. Okay? So you can use this approach too in a single page app, but session management one is much better. So if you are implementing single logout for your SPA with this approach, that means so you need to have an endpoint, right, in your web server which runs the SPA. That's for the logout. Then iframe will send that request to the logout endpoint. Then logout endpoint should send a response back with set of HTML code, which will invalidate any of your like session storage or local storage variables and remove them and clean the session, right? So that's how you can do it if you are using front channel logout for your single page applications. Okay. Yeah, another thing is like, so there are some parameters that you send here. So in this request, you also send a parameter called SID, session identifier, and also issuer. Issuer is the IDP, right? So SID parameter you get in the login authentication response from the IDP if you have enabled front channel logout, right? It's in the ID token itself. It's a unique session identifier. You need to send that along with the request to the application when you send the logout request. It's not a must. If you don't send issue and the SID, then still the application can detect the corresponding session and it will invalidate all the sessions associated with that particular browser, right? Rather terminating a single session, right? So if you have an SID, then App2 can find that specific session and terminate. Okay, but it's not a must to send SID. Then the third option is back channel logout, right? So with back channel logout, still you initiate the request in a front channel way, right? RP logout, you send a logout request here. Now IDP, just like SAML back channel logout, here will create a token called logout token, right? So this logout token is itself a JWT, which has a set of parameters, and you send that request to the application 2. This JWT will include once again that SID and also subject parameter and issuer. And then application 2 can identify uniquely the session of this particular user and send a response back. And once again, if you don't include the SID parameter, then application 2 will terminate all the sessions associated with that particular user. So once everything is done, you can read that user back to the application 1, right? Here also, we need to have some kind of a session checker for the App2, the code running on the browser to check the detect any changes in the back channel session. And if the back channel session being terminated, then the front channel can also like terminate its own session. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to cover. But sorry, I didn't do the OpenID Connect demo. So let me go through that. Right. So once again, in the identity server side, I have registered OpenID Connect application. Login. Yeah. So if you go to inbound authentication configuration, OpenID Connect configuration, edit, right? So here I have enabled logout, right? So this is actually basically if you don't enable logout, it's using session management, but you have the other options too. At the moment in this particular release, we only support OpenID Connect back channel logout, but we have implemented front channel logout too. It will be, they are not the immediate release, but probably the year-end release. Okay. Now, if you go to this particular application, right, the pickup application, okay, I don't have login session now. If I click on login here, once again, it's an OpenID Connect flow, and I can log in with. Now I'm logged in here, right? Now, if you look at, remember this flow, this one. This is the one we just completed, right? The OpenID Connect login. Now we should see this OPBS cookie written under the IDP domain, right? So now if you go here, right? If you go here, and let's have a look at the cookie. If we inspect the cookie, you can see OPBS cookie here, right? So that means if you look at this particular application, so this has two wireframes. Now they are communicating with each other. Now let's see what will happen. Let's open this one too. Developer tool here. Screen everything. Now let's see if I change this value manually, right? If I change this value, what will happen? I change that value. Now you can see this got refreshed, right? But still you are logged in. The reason is we still, like, even though the value got changed, still IDP session hasn't terminated, right? So you send a prompt none request to the IDP, then IDP send you back a valid ID token. So if you have a valid ID token, you are still logged in, right? You don't need to initiate logout. Now let's look at the request, right? So this is the request initiated by the pickup application when this the cookie value got changed, right? So you can see it sending prompt none, right? In response, you should get an ID token. You basically get the authorization code and you exchange that to an ID token, right? So here you can see you are getting authorization code, right? You are getting authorization code to this particular client, and then the client will exchange that authorization code to an ID token, right? Now let's see. So let's go back here and go to SAML service provider. And let's just change this to default. Now, if I log in to this one, I'll be automatically logged in because I already created a session in the 9443 IDP via the OpenID Connect app. Now let's log out from here, from SAML IDP. So that this will destroy my IDP session, right? So that means now if I change this cookie value, this should generate a logout request, right? The OpenID Connect app. Now let's go here and change this value. Now this should generate a logout request. Now it's logged out, right? It's a logout request IDP, and IDP send back a response to the this callback URL. So that is how OpenID Connect and SAML 2 work. And in IDNServe, actually, we have implemented cross-protocol logout too. So we can detect logout request from one protocol and propagate that in a standard manner to the other service providers support any federation protocols. Yeah, I think there's a question. Yeah, how does the iframe solution work with clickjacking protection? Yes, so basically here, so even though you load an iframe, right, you should follow, so this is basically what you can do is initiate a logout request, right? So clickjacking will, like, so it will prompt you to initiate a logout request, right? But still it is hard to do that because the logout request is generated just looking at the cookie value, and that cookie value is only accessible to the iframe which is loaded from the OpenID provider, right? So I think the impact is very low, and if you have specific case, probably we can discuss and see how we can prevent that. Yeah, Holger, if you want to speak up, you can just unmute and speak too, or else just type on the Zoom chat. Any other questions? Okay, then thank you very much for joining. So hope you will join our next session too. Probably it will happen in 2 weeks time. Yeah, thanks again and stay safe. Thank you.